I'm here to tell you that we're distracted right now in Washington on a number of different fronts, but public policy is going to come to bear on this, as Bruce said. And he's been involved in it about as long as I have, and he's watched from a perspective that I think is very valuable. I have a similar but unique perspective being on the inside of it, but both of us, I think, would agree it's coming. Something's coming. We don't know what it is. We don't know what perspective it's going to carry, but it's coming because we can read it. But it's also during a very distracted time. We'd love to have this conversation about sustainable agriculture in the quiet of the hearing room, maybe, of the Agriculture Committee in the Senate or the House, where we can have experts come in and give us their opinion about sustainable agriculture. And my guess is that those kinds of hearings will take place. But outside that room, they're not talking about sustainable agriculture. They're talking about the fact that we have the largest deficit now that our country has ever faced, both in terms of actual dollars and in terms of the percentage of our economy, the percentage of our future. The largest national debt, not just owed as it was back in the Second World War to ourselves, we're now owing it to China and to countries overseas. We're also having this debate at a time where we're obviously in an economic downturn and we're not growing jobs. We lack a predictable, and I say predictable, commitment to renewable biomass energy. I'm not suggesting people aren't committed to renewable energy, but a predictable course of exactly where that's going, as of yet, we don't have that. Clarity on environmental policy. Everyone's for it. Everyone's an environmentalist. Everyone believes we should be better to the environment. But is there clarity on exactly what direction that's heading? No, we're not even close to that. We're in an era where taxes are going to go up, where regulation is becoming rampant, and right now it's in the areas of financial services, and it's in the areas where we've been seeing quite a bit, recently on the television. But that's because that's all you've been hearing about. It's coming after you next, and it's coming from places that you probably aren't familiar with right now. You're used to it from the Department of Agriculture. It's coming from other places now, and other quarters of the government that will have an impact on this. So my experience tells me that whatever this is, it's coming. A. B, you're not involved enough, and I say I say that generically because this is how I would speak to my voters, my constituents, people that I care about, my neighbors and friends. You're not yet as plugged into this for good reason, because you are focused on your business, you're focused on your family, on your bottom line, on your community, but you're not as focused as you probably need to be, because others are. Others are very focused on the definition. Others are very focused on where this is heading, be it consumers, be it NGOs, non-governmental organizations, be it industry. They're focused on it, but I think the rank and file individual producer farmer is not yet as plugged in as they need to be. And you're going to need to affect change in places that you're not familiar with. Most people, when they go to Washington, if you currently are part of an organization, maybe you're part of the Case IH family that goes to D.C., maybe you're with the corn growers or pork producers, this, that, whatever it might be. When you go to D.C., I guarantee I know where you go. You go to your own congressman. You go to your own senator. You might venture into another neighboring district. You never go and see anybody who doesn't serve on the Agriculture Committee, because that's where you need to influence. Well, unfortunately, that was true 20 years ago. It's not as true today. Today, you're getting public policy decisions that affect agriculture, bottom line, from more than just the agriculture committees and the Department of Agriculture. Today in Congress, and I'll give you the best example right now, is the fact that the biodiesel tax credit has not yet been extended. That didn't come from the Department of Agriculture. It didn't come from the Ag Committee. That's coming from the tax committees. That's coming from the Ways and Means Committee, and it's coming from the Finance Committee in the Senate. That's affecting more of your bottom line right now than anything, or for some of you, than anything that's going on the Ag Committee. The other thing that's going on is in the administration. So separate from Congress is in the administration. You don't just see this coming from the Department of Agriculture. Now the EPA is involved. The Department of Energy is involved. You will see the White House much more involved than ever before when it comes to foreign policy, trade policy, environmental policy, tax policy, policies that affect you and your economic bottom line.